Hey guys, I'm making this video just to talk about the buddy system we're planning to implement next year, and I'm going to burn through it in around 7 minutes so I don't waste too much of your time. So let's get straight to it. Now, what is the buddy system? The buddy system is a system designed to help incoming students by pairing them up with senior students as a reference point to ask their questions and have their problems solved. The ultimate goal of the buddy system is to increase community, engagement, and accessibility. Now, you may be wondering, what's the difference between a Welcome Week leader and a buddy? Well, a Welcome Week leader's term only lasts for orientation week. They are expected to come, organize events, and lead freshman students to create a positive, fun, and welcoming atmosphere for these incoming students. A buddy, on the other hand, has a term that lasts for the whole year. They are expected to do what a Welcome Week leader does, but also a little more as well. Instead of only focusing on orientation week, they are also encouraged to help out with November and January intake orientations, as well as possibly even the Summer 1, Summer 2 transfer orientations. Now, these are the core values of a buddy. We believe that all of these values are vital to having a successful buddy program, especially taking ownership of the role with a passion to welcome students while staying open-minded. We came up with a couple of things that we believe is what a successful buddy would do and looks like, such as organizing an itinerary of things to do with their students, and serving as a role model of Holt, which means focusing on the positive aspects of Holt rather than the ones that are more opinionated. And lastly, keeping in contact with their students while being a reliable and informational point of reference for these new students. Now, this is the process of becoming a buddy. We'll be having a webinar next month, so in order to ensure that it'll be a fruitful discussion where we can bounce ideas off of each other, it's going to be mandatory for all buddies to attend. And now the date we've aimed for is for July 10th, around 5 p.m. British Summer Time, which is a great time for both people who are on the Western Hemisphere and the Eastern Hemisphere, since London is right in the middle. So I hope that all of you guys can schedule it so we have full attendance. Then we'll have on-campus training. So the next time we'll meet after July 10th is the on-campus training the day before orientation, which is September 4th. And then orientation week begins. So these are the things that you should definitely do before orientation week. You should definitely email your students to introduce yourself, tell them your interests, hobbies, as well as your contact number. Now, you'll be getting your list of students after our webinar on July 10th. So once you get that, you can start pumping out emails, however, at whatever pace you like. Just ensure that you email everyone. Secondly, you should set up a communication channel, such as WhatsApp, to invite them to the group, to contact them all easier. Thirdly, you should attend the orientation meetings. And lastly, you should plan an itinerary of fun things to do in London, such as rock climbing, go-karting, alpaca walking, pub crawling, clubbing, whatever you like. So, what should you do during the first month of school? You should invite your students to on-campus events. You should give them a campus tour. You should try meeting them for coffee to learn more about them. You should introduce some of you should introduce them to some of your Holt staff. Show them how to use the really complex platforms we have, such as MyHolt, um, My Courses, stuff like that. But most importantly, you should make them feel welcomed. Now, as a buddy, there's a soft requirement to take out your students at least once within the first 2 weeks of school. But when taking out your students, remember that not everyone likes the same thing. So once you meet your students, try separating them into mental groups so that you know, like, this group has this interest, this group has another interest. For example, I know this group really likes the club, so I'm going to take them out clubbing, and another group doesn't like the club so much, so I'll possibly take them out for a picnic or going to an art gallery. So just plan your activities as well so that you match every student's interests. What should buddies be doing after orientation week? The most important thing they should be doing is to stay in contact with your students. Take them out for a pint once in a while, catch up with each other. Don't look at them as chores, but rather look at them as your new friends. Now, something super important when it comes to leader-student relationships is having an unconditional positive regard, which has key components such as being non-judgmental and impartial, compassionate, and accepting of another person. Everyone comes from a different background, especially here at Holt, so it's important to stay respectful of different cultures and different backgrounds. But I'm sure you guys all have no problem because you guys are all awesome, and Holt really makes sure that we are all open-minded. Now, one thing to remind yourself of the buddy mentality is to think about what we want the incoming students to think, feel, and do. We want them to think that they made the right choice coming to Holt. That's the most important. And we want them to think that they're welcome inside our community. especially to the student services hosted events. Now, student services put a lot of effort and time into creating these events, and we want as many people as possible to attend. So we want the new coming students especially to attend these, student services hosted events. Secondly, what do we want them to feel? We want them to feel comfortable, supported, and most importantly, excited. It's their first year of university outside of high school for most of them, so it'll definitely be an exciting time for them. And lastly, we want them to socialize, we want them to support one another, and for me personally, I want them to flourish. This is what I want them to do. I want them to start their own societies and become board members of existing ones. Holt gives us so many opportunities for us to flourish, so I hope that all the incoming students can really see that and practice that as well. So once again, just to end the presentation, to go over the key dates, July 10th is our next webinar at 5 p.m. British Summer Time. I'll make sure to put that in the Facebook chat as well, just to remind everyone. Yeah, make sure you attend. And before that, a little homework, really soft homework for the summer is just to bring some ideas on how we can make this buddy system as successful as possible. So we're looking to bounce ideas off one another during the next webinar. And the second day to look out for is the on-campus orientation day, which is on September 4th. So yeah, that's it. If you guys have any questions, shoot it into the Facebook chat and I'll make sure to answer it as well as I can. But thanks for listening.